This is the present perfect for the third year secondary schools. First of all, we have to know the formation of this tense. Number one, it consists of have or has plus past participle. And of course we know that has comes with he, she, it, and any singular noun plus past participle. But have comes with I, we, you, they, and the past participle and any plural noun. Okay? Example, I have done my homework. Number two, he has traveled abroad. So, if you look at these two examples, you can find the first example includes have done. The second one has traveled. Okay, this is the formation of the present perfect simple tense. And now, how to negate this tense or how to use the negation. Firstly, you have to put not after have or has. And of course, we know that the abbreviation of not is N apostrophe T. So, have not or has not plus past participle. Example, we haven't seen a line before. She hasn't done her homework yet. So here we have haven't and hasn't. But how to make a question according to this tense? We know that we have two kinds of questions. The first one is called the yes or no question, and this is the main point here. You have to start with have or has plus the subject and the past participle. Like what? Have you ever been to London? The answer is yes, I have, or no, I haven't. You know that we have to start with have, then the subject if you want to make a question. And when you want to answer, you have to use the crossway or the scissors as we teach the primary students. But the secondary ones know this point 100%. Yes, I have, if it is affirmative. No, I haven't, if it is negative. Has Adil done his homework? Yes, he has, or no, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. In this case, if we want to give or to say a complete answer, you can say, yes, I have been to London. Or no, I haven't been to London yet. Or no, I have never been to London. The same point with has Adil done his homework? Yes, he has done his homework. Or no, he hasn't done his homework. So these are the major points in order to know every tense. But what about the usages of this tense? And this is the most important point. We have to use the present perfect to express what? Number one, an action happened in the past, but it has an effect at the present. Like what? She has cleaned the room. It means that the room is cleaned now. Okay? She has cleaned the room. Number two, it expresses an action that happened and ended in the past, but we didn't mention when it happened. We didn't mention when it happened. Okay? Like this one. She has written several articles. But if we use the time expression here to show the past, like yesterday, last week, and so on, it's past simple tense, like this. She wrote several articles yesterday. Another example, suppose that you are watching TV with your little brother, for example, and there is something on the screen, or they are advertising for a movie, and they are saying that it's coming soon. And of course you have watched this movie. You can say, I have already watched that movie, but you didn't mention when. If you said last week, you have to say, I watched that movie last week. Okay, guys? And now, the third usage here is that the present perfect simple tense is used with repeated actions. Repeated actions, okay? Like what? He has written 14 novels. It means that he can write more, okay? And it means, or in other words, that he has written 14 novels up till now. He can't, or it's impossible to write the 14 novels at a time. So this action is repeated, okay? Another example, when you phoned someone for many times, you can complain that, hey you man, I have phoned you 5 times and you haven't answered. This is in order to show repeated action. In other words, we can say to show a number or quantity, okay? But if we use the past simple with a repeated action, it means that the actions or the incident or the event, of course, stopped. Like what? He wrote 14 novels. It means he stopped writing, or he no longer writes novels. And now there is another form you have to put in mind. It's the first time. So with this expression we use the present perfect simple tense because of its. Pay attention to this. It's the first time plus subject plus present perfect. It's the first time I have been to Aswan. Okay, let's see the second point. The keywords. We have some keywords for the present perfect simple tense, and we have to pay attention to the usage of every one of them, okay? Firstly, we have just and already. Just and already are used after have or has and before the past participle, as you see. And they are used in the affirmative sentences, okay? But yet is used in the negative ones and the questions, and yet is used at the end of the negative sentences and at the end of the question. Pay attention to the difference between them. Examples: they have just arrived. I have just watched TV. He has already written his homework. I haven't visited him yet. Have you mended the car yet? Has she cooked yet? Okay, but a hint here, we can use already at the end of a question if you know the answer to your question. Like what? When you enter a room, for example, okay, and you see that your brother or your friend has already finished his homework, and this is so fast, you can say, have you finished your homework already? You are so fast, or that is fantastic. So if you add something or an expression to the question here to show that the action has already finished, you can use already at the end of the question, not yet. Pay attention to this point, guys. The second point here, ever and never. We use ever in the question and never when you answer saying no. Have you ever eaten shrimps? No, I have never eaten shrimps. And we can use ever, but in the superlative degrees and comparison. Saying what or like what, you can say, this is the most enjoyable film I have ever seen. Again, this is the most enjoyable movie I have ever seen. And we can use never at the beginning or at the first part, like what? I have never seen a more enjoyable film than this. Okay? So this is the second point of the key words. Number 3. We can use recently or lately at the end of the sentences, but we have to put in mind one major point. Lately can be used at the end of the affirmative and negative sentences, but recently is used at the end of the affirmative sentences only. So this is the difference between lately and recently. Okay? He hasn't visited me lately. He has visited me recently. Another sentence or example. Has he visited you lately or recently? So at the end of the question, we can use lately or recently. Okay? Number 4. Since. Since is a key word for the present perfect simple tense, and it can come with the time expression like this. Okay? But firstly, you know that since can come with one sentence, and if it comes with one sentence like this, the tense is present perfect simple or present perfect continuous. No problem. Like what? He has studied since 3 o'clock. He or she has been sleeping since last hour. But since it has a rule, it can come like this. It is preceded by the present perfect simple or the present perfect continuous and followed by past simple tense. So any sentence comes after since must be in the past simple tense like this. Let's see an example. He has worked here since he graduated. Again, he has worked here since he graduated. But since it can express the beginning of the action, or it must be followed by the beginning of the action, a time expression that can show the beginning of the action. But for is followed by a period of time. Again, for is followed by a period of time. And here is a list for this. Since is followed by 3 o'clock. It can be 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, any digit with the word o'clock. Since this morning, since Monday, we can say since last Monday, no problem. Since last week, since last month, and since plus a date 2005. But 4 comes with what? With these points. For 2 hours, it can be 3 hours, 5 hours, 12 hours, no problem. 5 days, maybe 7 days, 30 days, and so on. For the last week, okay, look at this, since last week, but for the last week. For 9 months, for 5 years, for a week, for a long time, for a while, forever, and so on. So for is followed by a period of time, but since is followed by the beginning of the action or a specific point of time. Examples: I haven't seen him since the last week. I haven't visited Ali for a week. They have studied English for 7 years. Use since here. If you have 4 and I want to use since, there is a rule here. If you have the years, you can subtract the 7 years from the year that we are in. Like what? They have studied English since 2014 or 2014. Okay? This is the point of since and for as keywords. Okay. The last point here is a major point. In fact, we have to differentiate between the expression of been to and gone to. Okay, and I'm going to tell you guys, if you want to use have or has been to, here you want to show that a person went somewhere and came back. Okay, again, have or has been to show that someone went somewhere and came back. Okay, But gone to means that this person, okay, is on the way to that place, okay, or has reached that place. Okay, like what? My brother has gone to Germany. He is still in Germany now, or he is on his way to Germany. But when you say my brother has been to Emirates, it means that he isn't there now. He is in another place, okay? He went to Emirates and came back, okay? And another example, when you ask someone about his or their father, you can say, where is your father? He can say, he has gone to Tanta, okay? But when you want to ask your mother, for example, suppose that your mother went to the market and came back, you can ask her saying, where have you been? Where have you been? And she can answer, I have been to the market. And this is the end of our lesson today. Thank you very much. I wish you all success and good luck. Goodbye.